I'm Liesbeth Schockaert. I am a humanitarian worker. I've been working in this field since '99. My first mission was in Kosovo, and I've both worked for NGOs as for the United Nations, and my background is in law. So I've worked a lot in the field and also in headquarters. So. I think it's crucial to continue to reflect on it. First of all, because of the impact that it has on people's life. I think it's important that we continuously ask ourselves whether we do harm or not, because our intervention is never in some kind of vacuum. Also, I think one thing that we also need to reflect on every time is, I think, the kind of expectations that we raise, because by being present as an international organization already in itself, you bring on a lot of expectations, and some of these expectations you might be able to fulfill, but others not. And I think it's also really important to be clear about that and to be frank and honest about that. What are the possibilities? What can you offer? But also what are your limitations? For me, a striking example of one of the projects I was in Mount Elgon in Kenya. There was a conflict there at a certain time. And I was actually, this was with the Médecins Sans Frontières. I was visiting the project, and I was going to a small health clinic, which was actually in the heart of the conflict. And so I started to talk in the waiting room with the different patients, and there were a lot of women and children. So I was just walking around, and I was asking what kind of illnesses that they had and why they came to the hospital. And their answer was, after a while, was actually, we're not ill at all. We're just here for protection. And it was, for them, it was knowing that at 5 o'clock, most international staff would leave. And, you know, for them, it was at least for a couple of hours, they could sit there, they could rest, they could talk amongst themselves, and they didn't have to worry about their protection at that time. But at the same time, it's very fragile, because, you know, at 5 o'clock, they will have to return to their places. And at the same time, it's a protection which is purely based on principles and on the respect of that. And we all know that it's not always guaranteed that these principles will be protected. And so it's a very fragile protection as well. So I think these are all things that we need to think about it. We need to see how we address it. And that's one of the reasons why I think we need to continue reflecting on humanitarian aid and protection. Well, for me personally, what always motivated me was the direct contact with people. I'm very much somebody who's always been on the field. I love to listen to people, for two reasons, basically. One is to have better programming, to understand better in what kind of context the humanitarian aid is taking place. It's also to see what kind of self-reliance and resilience there is in people at the first place. But it's also, for me, it's very fulfilling to have that direct contact with people. So I've always been good at doing participatory assessments, and I realized for myself that I'm very much a field person. I've also been involved in academic work, but if I really listen to the core and to my heart, it's to be directly on the field and having that contact with people. By listening to them, it's a kind of restoring dignity. It's the first beginning.